And Mr. Ross, it looks like we have yet to receive service on Mr. Palm. Do you have any information about that?
Your Honor, I received this document right here. Have you received it, Your Honor?
Okay. Yes, we have received this document. And what it indicates is that Mr. Palm was not served because he no longer resides on the property and they don't know where he is.
That is not true. Your Honor, I saw him there on June 1st when I returned from my shopping. I drove my vehicle by the house and I saw him there. And there was a bunch of people there. There was 2 trucks and 3 motorcycles. He had a friend who came over. I took some picture. I saw him there.
Okay. Unfortunately, I can't do anything with you telling me that. He has to actually be served with the notice for the hearing.
Your Honor, when I saw him, I called the police, and it took the police about 40 minutes to come. And by the time the police came, Mr. Palmer was gone. And I kept asking police, please come over as quickly as possible. And then the police called me and asked me, is Mr. Palmer still there? After about 40 minutes, and I told the police that he was no longer there. I was thinking about asking a friend of mine to serve him this document, Your Honor, but there were so many people there. I was afraid of his safety, of his well-being, and so that's the reason why I called the police and notified police that he was there.
All right. And I know I've said this before, we can't do anything unless he gets served.
Your Honor, it happened the same thing on May 23rd. The police tried to serve him the document and met with an individual across the street. His name is Doug, but Doug pretended he was the father of Roger Palmer, but actually he was the neighbor. And for some reason, they could not locate him either. I know for a fact that, Your Honor, that Roger going to come back, Palmer going to come back, and I would like to ask Your Honor to extending this maybe a couple of weeks or 3 weeks from now, so we can have another hearing, Your Honor.
Going to do it one more time?
Please.
But this will be the last time. If he doesn't get served, then we're just going to have to wait until you figure out a different way to serve him.
This is hard, Your Honor. I do not know when he's going to show up at that location. Every time when he show up, I'm attempt to call police, but I don't know if we can serve him on time. I don't know that when he's going to show up. Is he going to show up at night or during the day?
Okay. One of your options is, I think we've discussed before, is you can hire a process server, and if you're paying them, they will spend more time waiting for Mr. Palm to show up and then serve him. And as part of this process, if that's how he gets served, you can ask the court to reimburse you for the service costs. And to be clear, the court wouldn't reimburse you. You would be asking the court to order Mr. Palm to reimburse you. Or as you are aware, and we've talked about before, you do have the right to have somebody not related to you go serve him, but I know you're concerned about the safety of that person who does so. It will come back on the 17th of June at 9 o'clock. Actually, I'm going to go 1 week further. I'm going to go on to the 24th of June to give you a little bit more time. And Mr. Ross will make a copy of this for you and give that to you. And he'll get a service back.
Your Honor, the police told me that next time when I see Mr. Palmer, just call 911 and the police will show up right away.
Okay. All right. Here's the copy of your documents. Is present. And Mr. Ross, I don't see any service on Mr. Palm. Is that right? And he indicated no service. Mr. Lim, good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor. Good morning.
And Mr. Ross, I think I said the last time that we would try this one more time, and at this point there is no service.
Look, Ross.
So at this point we'll just close out this case. And like you told me last time, you had seen Mr. Palm in the neighborhood, but you've been unsuccessful in getting him served. Is that right?
Look. Yes, correct, Your Honor. I still see him. I saw him a few times since the last hearing, Your Honor. But he's quickly left the area. He circled around.
Right. Well, we can't do anything unless he gets served, as we've talked about before.
Your Honor, I was told that he's going to come and live in that area in July. So when I see him in July, Your Honor, can I still file another protection order, Your Honor?
Yes, you can.
Look at that man. Campbell, yes, I will refile it, Your Honor.
All right. So I'm going to sign a dismissal order today. We'll give you a copy of it, but that doesn't prohibit you from refiling in the future.
Yes, Your Honor. And that individual is a violent, so I had to file this protection order.
I understand.
តុលាការយល់ហើយ
Mr. Ross, we will make a copy of this for you and give it to you here in a minute. But in the meantime, as I said, if Mr. Palm comes to a place where you believe he can be served, you can always seek a new order.
Can I just copy the previous form that I fill out, Your Honor, and then refile it when I saw him, Your Honor?
You can. You'll have to file it to get a new number, but you can put the same information on there.
Yes. Thank you, Your Honor.
And you can add anything that's happened since you last filed.
A few days ago, Your Honor, he saw me and he's staring at me.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Ross. I'll come.
Lehai. Your Honor, this is the only case this interpreter has with the court, Your Honor. Permission to be excused, Your Honor.
Of course. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And Ms. Goncharova, good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Ms. Zoraleva, your case is very similar to Mr. Ross's. I don't see that Mr. Seswind has been served.
Спасибо большое, переводчик. Могу я сама сказать, что...
Your Honor, thank you.
Да, только если мне надо будет помощь, я вас попрошу.
I do understand what you are saying. May I have the interpreter in the position of standing by?
All right.
He's home all the time. I've been asking here, Sheriff, to serve him documents. I don't know why he's not receiving them. And he's home, he's everyday home, make same noises. My kids very uncomfortable. We need a protection. We're not sleeping night because of music. We're not safe at the daytime in the backyard, from front yard, in a house. Music so loud. Then clock, father's clock, things inside. They are wiggling. You know, that's the so much uncomfort and scared. So I need you to help me.
Is this a home or apartment?
It is a duplex.
And
We sharing wall, we sharing fence and one driveway.
does he own the home?
No, he's not. He's renting us. We are
From the same landlord?
same landlord. Yeah.
And have you spoken to the
I spoke
landlord?
many times. They spoke to him. They asked me to do something, but you can do on your own. Go to the court and ask judge to solve the problem.
Okay. And have you spoken to the Tumwater Police about why they
yes,
haven't come to serve him?
I saw they did. I come in here in the office and I ask lady to sheriff serve these documents to him, and I was so sure they did.
Okay.
In his home, Thursday was so bad, music, you cannot have dinner. In the outside, you cannot go, he's swearing. I have special need boy. My son is autistic boy, he's 16. My daughter is 22, they both scared. I have declarations from them.
Right.
My husband.
Okay, yeah, hold on to those.
Yeah, thank you.
Right. And Ms. Zorleva, we will reset this one more time to give you a chance to have Mr. Gushen served. So I'm going to set it for 3 weeks from today. I've directed once again that this go back to the Tumwater Police Department. So my suggestion is you actually go down to the Tumwater Police Department office
Okay.
and bring them the paperwork today
Okay.
so that they can go out and serve. And you can tell them all the information you have about Mr. Gushen and, you know, when he's there and those sorts of things.
Yes, thank you.
Rather than talking to them on the phone, just go straight to their office.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. And
Do I need any more paperwork?
yes, we're going to give you a copy of
Okay.
this, and then you'll go across to the civil office to get the service packet.
Thank you.
Yep. So just a moment, you're going to get this.
Этому делу будет правда, только правда, и ничего кроме правды.
And Ms. Zaraeva said yes, and Mr. Seswin or Geshwin? You're muted. We can't hear you. Thank
Okay,
you.
very good. Sorry about that, Your Honor.
Okay, so I think the answer to my
Yes.
question, yes, thank you. And Ms. Zareleva, do you wish to have Ms. Goncharov interpret for you, or do you want to do this in English?
I would do in English. If I have problem location, I'm gonna ask for help. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Goncharov, do you mind being standby?
Not at all, Your Honor.
All right, thank you very much. Ms. Zareleva, you said in your petition that you, and first let me get the correct pronunciation. Is it Gushen?
It's Gushen.
Gushen, okay. That you and Mr. Gushen are neighbors,
Yes,
immediate neighbors?
we are sharing fence, one wall and driveway.
Okay. And you say that Mr. Gushen swears at you, he yells at you, he plays his music loud, and that he has made lewd comments about you.
Very true. And he's hitting wall when he's very angry. And at night, when I I called policeman. Policeman come into the house, and after policeman left, he was very angry, hitting wall. And when I come into him, I come first 3 times. I try to be nice. I come into his house 11 o'clock p.m. and ask Chris, please be quiet, turn off your music. After third time I come in, he became very angry. He called me, you are rude, called me names in house, and hit and wall very badly. So in this night, I was very scary. And I believe I need a peace. My kids need a peace. We are here in America. In Ukraine right now, it's a war. My people, I called in a Skype, they're not sleeping because of Putin bombing our people. They live very scary life. I'm living in America, and my kids and I, scary life. We are afraid of our neighbor. He's a huge guy. And he, now lately, his brother live with him. So 2 big people behind my wall. And I'm just a one little woman with 2 kids with disabilities. I need help, I need protection.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Gushen?
Yes, Your Honor. Actually, I'm represented by Mr. Lenny Lusenko. He is unable to appear today as he's pro-temping in Thurston County Superior Court. And we were asking if we could continue this till when he was available. Could you hear me, Your Honor?
I could. I'm
Oh,
looking at it. And Ms. Orlev, are you renting the home?
We are renting home.
And
Yes.
Mr. Gushen, are you renting your home?
Yes, correct.
And do you both have the same landlord?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And what's the landlord say about
Yeah,
this?
I spoke to landlord many times since this started. And in the middle of this process, I was coming back to the landlord and say, looks like he's okay now. He's better, just because his father and mother come to him and he is acting very weirdly. So maybe he's going to be better. And he's not getting better. He's getting worse. He's coming drunk to my driveway, scared kids. And I coming back to green property again and ask them, please do something. If he can move out, because I can't. We just move in with kids. And Mr. Chris, he said, I live here more than you. I can do whatever I can do here. It is no seniority. Mr. Judge, I ask you, please do something about this. Every night it's survival. I'm not in Ukraine right now. I'm not in Russian jail or Russian army and somebody gonna bully me and my kids. Please help, please do something.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Gushen, you have asked for a continuance on this case. I am looking at our case file, which is why I have these moments of silence as I'm reviewing it. Mr. Lusenko has not filed what's called a notice of appearance, which would be his official indication to the court that he is representing you. So I understand that you have spoken with him, but he's not filed anything with the court saying that he's representing you in this matter.
Yeah, he is. I spoke with him, and he said he did not file a notice of appearance because he was pro-temping at Thurston County Superior Court.
Right. When did you speak with him?
I last spoke with him on Friday afternoon.
Is that the first time you spoke to him about this?
No, he also represents me in another case. Family
No,
law.
is that the first time you spoke to him about this case?
No, we've spoken previously about it.
Okay. Yeah, I know Mr. Lusenko, and I know that he does pro tem work, and normally I would be inclined to grant the request for continuance, but since he's been aware of this and has not ever entered a notice of appearance on your behalf, I don't think it's a basis for me to continue the case today because he's not officially your counsel here. And he has known for a while about the case and hasn't chosen to enter a notice of appearance. So I'm going to interpret that as he's not going to be your counsel on this matter. All right. So your response to Ms. Zuraleva's concerns about your actions as a neighbor of hers. So you go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, I disagree with a lot of the claims. I think this all started. She would come over to my house after she moved in the middle of the afternoon when I was playing music with my children, cleaning, knock on the door, and it seemed like any noise I would make would bother her. And she called the police on me a couple of times. And I actually went to my landlord and mentioned to him that I felt like I was being harassed, that she was disturbing my peace. Unfortunately, I think my landlord mentioned that to her, and maybe that caused some issues. But other than that, the police have responded when when I've watched movies. They've said I've done nothing wrong. Told me just to live my life. I've only spoken with her 4 or 5 times. Never had any interaction with her children. Never ever directly insulted her or threatened her or spoke anything lewd about her. My brother does not live with me, as she mentioned. In fact, I think he's only visited once since she's been here, maybe twice. So yeah, basically, I disagree. I even asked my landlord when this all began to break my lease. Because I felt harassed, I couldn't live my life, and I'm currently looking for places to live so I could get away from this.
My observation, and this isn't a part of any judgment. My observation is that we have 2 neighbors who share fence line and wall since I believe they're townhomes. Is that right?
Yes, it's duplex.
Okay, so duplex. In situations like that, we need to make accommodations to each other in order to allow each to have some level of comfort in their homes when we're living that close together. This appears to me to be a case where perhaps the accommodation hasn't been made to the degree that it could be. That's just my observation. Listening to that, previously reading what Ms. Zuraleva has filed, and then hearing today from the 2 of you. It's frankly, it bothers me that it would take a court to intervene to resolve something like that. If my neighbor said, "Hey, you're being too loud," I would endeavor to do everything I can to recognize that and try to be accommodating, and I would try to do it and not give up my ability to do things, but my ability to do things has to be with an understanding that it's having impact on others. And if it's a negative impact, I certainly wouldn't want that. And standing up and saying I have the right to do this without regard to how it impacts you, to me, that doesn't make a great neighbor. So that's my observation. Now, I have previously told Ms. Zuraleva, when you weren't present, Mr. Gushen, because that matter hadn't been served yet, that I can't do anything about a noise complaint. Ms. Zuraleva has the right to call the police if she believes you're engaged in noise that is distracting to her children or to her and is above what is a normal neighbor would do. And she can also make that point to her landlord. And frankly, it's the landlord's job to make sure that the people living in their homes are observant to the needs of their neighbors. But the one thing I can regulate here is the contact between the 2 parties. And Ms. Zuraleva has said there has been direct contact from Mr. Gushen. Mr. Gushen denies it, except on a couple of occasions that he says they spoke to each other, but he denies yelling at her or saying anything lewd to her. I would hope that the two of you would just say, we need to recognize we live where we do have neighbors, so there's going to be some noise, but recognizing that there's going to be some noise, we don't want to make our neighbor uncomfortable. So this is I guess I'm disappointed that the parties haven't been able to just figure this out themselves so that they can both live and enjoy the homes that they have. That being the case, I will enter an order telling Mr. Gushen to have no contact with Ms. Zurleva. Ms. Zurleva, I cannot do anything about the level of the noise. That has to be a police complaint or a complaint to the landlord. I hope it isn't necessary. I hope Mr. Gushen understands that you don't need to make a point, Mr. Gushen. You have the right to play your music. You just don't have the right to intrude on others' privacy. So, be aware of that. And
I understand, Your Honor.
And Ms. Zurleva is here. She's in a tough situation as a single mom with kids that need lots of attention, and that's a hard enough job. You don't want to make her job harder by making her living environment tough. So I would hope, as Ms. Zurleva said, she held out some hope before that things might settle down. I hope this does it, and I just hope the two of you can come to some, as they say in geopolitics, some peaceful coexistence.
I absolutely 100% agree, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gushen and Ms. Zurleva, and we'll give you a copy of the order, which will state essentially like the temporary order says, there's just to be no contact between the parties, Ms. Zurleva or his children or her children, and we'll just leave it at that. That's it, and hope that everything else works itself out. Thank you, Mr. Gushen, and Ms. Zurleva, just stay where you are and we'll get you a copy.
Thank you, Your
Thank
Honor.
you. You're welcome. Do you have any questions about what I've said?
Yeah, I do. It is no trust for him. I cannot trust he's going to be quiet. I've been trying, but it's not going to work.
Okay, well,
It's not going to work.
I've asked him to keep an open mind, so I will ask you to keep an open mind.
Yeah.
And see if
If he wants to move out, would be probably best.
Yes, I know that's what you would like, but I've asked him to keep an open mind about trying to be aware of your needs, and so you just make sure you keep an open mind to his efforts to accommodate that. All right, Ms. Goncharova, thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Russian interpreter is disconnecting. Have a good day.
Be seated.
Спасибо.
Okay, I have some faint memory of this case previously. I believe I'm the one who handled the issue over the garbage cans. And that was about a year ago, is that
It was
right?
about a year ago, yes. The existing protection order expired in April, and I didn't see any need to extend it until this recent incident. And then I couldn't extend it, had request an issue for renewal.
Okay, so there was a video provided,
Yes,
and is that the issue that's at hand here?
yes, that's what you saw in the video, the dog.
Okay.
Almost dead.
And, I understand, or I'm assuming based on the past issues that your belief is that Mr. Arendt was intending to at least threaten your dog rather than I'll just let you know, my look at the video just looks like the dog is wandering in the road and the car comes up and tries to, blow the horn to get the dog to move.
Well, I was walking down my driveway, which is about 300 feet, and I could hear a car coming, and then I heard loud honking, and Mr. Arndt sped up and drove off the road and ended up stopping where it actually appeared that he touched the dog. And so, as you can imagine, watching your beloved dog almost get hit by a car, and I don't know whether Mr. Arndt saw me in the driveway or not. It just seems so violent that why would somebody do that? And so he drove down his driveway, and when he came back up the driveway with his garbage cans, had been crying. I was so upset, and I just told him, I said, I have a fenced yard. I said, I keep my dog in my yard, and I pick up after my dog if he goes to the bathroom. And Mr. Arndt said, okay, and he turned around and he walked away. And I started thinking about it, and it seemed to me that his aggressive anger was all kind of demonstrated in that moment. I would have expected to have some other acknowledgement. Like I said, I'm not sure he saw that I saw what I did. But I almost saw my dog get killed. And, you know, again, this is, as Pete and I both talked about, if you will do this, it just doesn't seem like it's gone away. It seems like there's this animosity, this anger, this threatening behavior going on still after a whole year of being under protection order. So I'm begging you to extend or create a new protection order so that we don't have to worry about Mr. Arndt's behavior. Now, I have in the courtroom today 6 or 7 of my neighbors that all live in the same neighborhood, and we have all had issues. I'm not going to speak on their behalf. I'm just saying that for my family and for me, I really would appreciate it if you would issue a new order, because that in fact worked. We didn't have any issues on that, but not even a month after it expired, I see him veer off the road fast and come to a stop and almost kill my dog. So, you know, it's not all okay now. So I guess I again have fear, and I wish I wasn't here, and that's the story. So.
Okay. So this order expired back in April.
This
And
occurred May 2021.
right. So prior to that, between the expiration of the order and this event in May, you'd had no contact from Mr. Arndt?
No.
Okay. Have you had any subsequent contact from Mr. Arndt?
Not since that day that this happened. And like I said, he didn't really acknowledge that it happened. So it made me wonder, did you know that I saw what you just did? And then I talked to Pete about it, and I just sort of feel like we don't know what he will do next. It seems uncertain and unstable or whatever. I don't know. I'm not pretending to analyze Mr. Arndt. I'm just saying I would like my family and my dog to be protected from whatever idea he comes up with. And then we can go back to just, you know, being confident that he would not do something erratic that was so unexpected. I don't know what to think about somebody who would speed up, veer off the road, and aim your car at a dog. Is a violent action, and like I said, it scared me very much.
And is the incident that you captured on the phone is what you're talking about?
Yes, sir. We have a motion since after the garbage incident.
Okay, so you weren't holding a camera?
No, after the garbage incident, we removed all of the wildlife cameras that we were monitoring and whatever. So this is a camera that's on our house that's motion detected. So I'm walking down the driveway, and that's what created the film to start moving. And it's not exactly a perfect picture, but I think you can see what happened there, and you can hear the honking and the screeching to the side of the road. So anyway.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Arndt?
Yeah, that's a gross misrepresentation of what happened that day. As you can see in the video, the dog is defecating on my property. If I could approach the bench and show you the property line. And
okay, that's okay.
Okay. So I've got a gravel parking area up there used for service parking. That was the root cause of it.
Right. Yep, I recall.
So turning home, and I see the dog swatting, defecating on my property. Since the first protection order, we've had multiple instances with her trespassing on the property, cleaning up after the dog or chasing the dog. She walks the dog off leash all the time. As you can see in the video, the dog was off leash. Returning home, the dog is defecating on my property. I slow down, sort of onto the parking area, honking at the dog to get it to stop defecating. When it started moving towards my car, I stopped, waited there until the dog left, drove down the driveway. And then the encounter we had where she approached me, and that's exactly as it happened. I just said, okay, do you want to engage with her? I went back home. I just want to be left alone in my home. My wife wants to be left alone in her home. We don't want her dogs in our property. As a young child, I was mauled by a dog, and I've got a fear of dogs. So every time I see that dog in my yard, it triggers me. I just want to be left alone.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
She's never had any issue with me.
I'm sorry?
She's never had any issue with me unless she's been on my property.
In reviewing the evidence that had been submitted prior to the hearing today, specifically the video that I watched, my impression just looking at the video was that from the standpoint of a camera, this wasn't as an aggressive action as Ms. Brooks perceived it there being in person. So the video didn't send that message to me. Your testimony has, but the video didn't send that message to me. And, I combine that with the fact that this is the only contact since the expiration of the prior order. And this isn't enough for me to issue a new order. I don't know that if I was upset with a dog that was defecating or pooping in my yard, that I would honk at it or move at it, thinking that that's going to stop it from doing that, because it's not. The dog's going to follow through. And then the question becomes who's supposed to pick it up. And you don't want dogs doing that. This isn't a case about enforcing a leash law, so I'm not going to do that either. This just it's not appropriate for me to enter an order that involves law enforcement over an issue like this. I think this just falls on the sort of, getting along socially within a community, and the ability to live your own lives and not have a negative impact on others. And, I know there's some residual impacts from the last time we had a conversation. I suspect that plays into this a bit. But as to the specifics of this case, I don't find there's a basis for me to enter an order, and I'm not going to do so. I would hope Mr. Arendt, clearly Ms. Brooks still has some level of concern, and you indicate you're aware of that and you're trying to respect it. Your response to her comments led me to believe that that's why you were acting in the way you did, just walking away. So, that's appropriate. As far as the dog issue goes, I can't weigh in on that. I really don't have a great solution for you. I'm not going to tell you to walk your dog on a leash. And
that is the law, is that correct?
Yeah. Okay.
We're in the unincorporated area.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not going to get into the on leash, off leash dog thing.
About the continued trespass on the property.
Yeah. Okay. You have legal recourse for addressing that if that is an issue that you want to take up, but that's not part of a harassment issue. That's a separate legal issue that can be addressed. So I've signed a denial order, and we'll make copies for each of you so you have a record of this.
Thank you.
Just sit tight where you are, and we'll get you each a copy. Okay. Let's. I'm just going to ask that any conversation be to me right now, unless the two of you can do so.
I'm sorry, I thought we were through. It's okay.
Well, we are, but I just.
She wasn't being.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I won't stop the two of you from speaking to each other. Maybe that's a good way of, dialing down the tension a bit. Maybe seated. And Ms. Kester, Ms. Eastburn is your brother's girlfriend?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And you say she follows you?
I'm assuming was her because evidence. She messages me off fake numbers, trying to harass me and get a rise out of me.
And why do you think she does that?
I'm assuming this all started over the TV that they took, and I tried to talk to my brother, and I had my other friend come with her stuff. My brother came into the house, saw that she was there. I told him that she's leaving. She left. My brother got upset, and I was trying to talk to him. She was on the phone, just started being rude and saying stuff. So I told her, I was like, can I please talk to my brother alone? You don't need to be on the phone. If I can't have a friend here, then you don't need to be on the phone. She didn't like that. She kept running her mouth. So I grabbed my brother's phone and I shut it off. And then she called back, and it just escalated from there. After my brother left, that's when I received the first messages off the first fake number stating that she's gonna call my work and make false accusations against me. She's gonna stay up all night because we work the same shift. And
do you work in the same place?
No, we do not. I can read it.
Yeah, I've read what you submitted.
It's kind of annoying.
And when was the last time you heard from her?
From those last messages. which was Saturday. I'm not sure what date that was. May 18th.
So May 18th was last year.
That was this day before all these messages.
Mhm.
The day after is the day I got followed back home. She's given my address out. I've had people come to my door. She's taken pictures of my license plate and send it to people. I just feel very unsafe at home. I have to go everywhere with pepper spray now. They tell me that they've been reporting my car to Walmart to get me banned there for no reason. I mean, I just go there to shop. That's it. I live right there. Everything's just really childish.
And Ms. Eastburn?
I would like to start this and state that the reason why I initially made contact with her is because she actually made a physical threat against me. And she just admitted as well as grabbing her phone and her brother's phone out of his hand. The friend that she had present at that first meeting is an ex-girlfriend of her brother's, and they actually did have a physical relationship. He has been hospitalized in the past because of this ex-girlfriend, and she tried to confront her brother about getting him to admit about the TV. That interaction was recorded actually on her part. And so that's where I would like to state that over the cell phone. I did not make no threats over her. I had told Jonathan to leave the apartment because once he realized that Jocelyn was there, he felt unsafe and did not want to be there. And that is when she took the phone out of his hand because I said, please just leave the situation, leave the apartment. It is not worth it because he was there to get the rest of his belongings. And that is when she yanked the phone out of his hand and hung up on him. He called me back because he felt unsafe being there. And he is present today with me as well. That is also where I would like to state that this last interaction that she is stating, I was working. If she called the cops on me for laughing at her, why would she not report that to my job? Why would she not go to my manager if I'm calling her slurs while I am on the clock presently in the store? My manager was in the vicinity and so were my coworkers. The threats that were made were not against her either. I had threatened to tell the boyfriend that she is seeing about the affair she is having with his wife. Those are the allegations. And if you look back at the text messages as well, I never said I was taking pictures of her license plate. I said I had pictures of her boyfriend being at the apartment from the past when I would go over there. What I would like to say is I have felt unsafe because I am currently 10 weeks pregnant. They have been harassing us for months prior to this because he was trying to sign himself off their lease. And that is why this started. And I told him as long as he paid his rent and gave notice, it was legal. She had his grandma harassing him. She had her friends messaging him, and it was all to deter him from signing himself off the lease. Not only did she tell us that she was going to get our car repoed because it's in Jocelyn's name, she also once again threatened my well-being. Carrying a child and ongoing with this, like I have no interest in having contact with her. But where this concerns me is it is a mental distress on me during my pregnancy. That is where I will agree. I have no interest in contacting, and the only 2 times I had contacted her is because she initiated it first. I have never gone out of my way to do it. I have never gone out of my way to do it what would be the word? Without cause. Really, when I seen her in my work that same exact day, her grandmother had shown up to my boyfriend's work and had started leaving notes and asking him to talk to her. We have been in no contact with his family this entire time. And the only reason why I messaged her that last time was no threats. I never gave out her license plate. I never gave out her address. I told her that I felt unsafe and I wanted a protection order. And I think that is why she filed this. I am scared if this is granted that she's going to continue to make false allegations against me. I don't even have a license, so I don't drive. So I don't understand how she can say she was followed and threatened by someone. Why would she not call the cops over that either? If someone threatened her and she was quick to call the cops over me making eye contact with her in Walmart, why did she not make a police report for the car following her and threatening her? Thank you, Your Honor.
May I say something?
Yes, you may.
The reason I called the cops that night at Walmart is because I was, I don't know the word. I was walking out and I heard my name and it was my brother. And he came up to me and was stating that if I don't leave them alone, that they're going to keep reporting my car to Walmart to get me banned. They're going to message the other party. They're going to just do a bunch of stuff. The reason my grandma went to Safeway and gave him a note, she didn't say anything to him, is because his mail gets sent to her. He had a doctor appointment. He doesn't have a phone number to reach out to her. He's not talking to anyone. So she thought if she would just go to Safeway, give him the note and leave, that he'd attend his doctor note. She didn't say a word to him. I mean, they're just blowing this out of proportion.
I would also like to state as well, she recorded that third interaction. She recorded her brother when he did ask her to stop coming into the store when I was working.
That's
All
what
we
I'm
asked-
saying.
All we asked was for her to not come in when I was working, and she recorded the entire interaction. All we said was that if she continued to come in and was harassing me, I would talk to my boss about getting a protection order and to prevent her from coming in when I was working. I have no issue with her going into my job, but after making physical threats at me, especially while I am carrying a child, it was very concerning to me. And my boyfriend, he worked at Walmart. He comes in every single night to drop off my prenatals, and it is a normal thing. And once he heard that his sister was there, he just asked her to leave me alone. That's it. If you look
Okay,
in my
all right.
text messages,
All right.
thank you.
What's happened with the TV? Did you get your TV back?
No, so we both paid for that TV, but I told my brother that I would help him move out. He agreed. I said, since I work the night shift, if you could just wake me up and I'll help you move. And he said, okay, yeah, I'll do that. Then I wake up and that's when I messaged him. I said, hey, did you still need help? He said, no, we already moved all my stuff. And then I went downstairs and saw that the TV was gone.
Mhm.
And that's when I said, is there a reason why you took the TV without discussing about it? And that's where I started screenshotting the messages.
Deny the request for an order. Now, I want to be clear, this isn't me taking sides and saying who's being the worst and getting on the other one's nerves, but that's really what this is about. This isn't something that should involve the courts or law enforcement. I strongly suggest you two leave each other alone. You don't talk to each other. You don't text each other. You don't do anything. You just pretend the other one doesn't exist. And if you want your TV back and you're not satisfied with any resolution, you can arrange with your brother and you can file a small claim action and ask to be reimbursed for the TV or whatever. But this back and forth stuff doesn't work. So, and you can ask that Ms. Kester doesn't come to Walmart while you're working there, but if she wants to go to Walmart, she can go to Walmart. But I would strongly urge the two of you just not to have any contact, because right now that's not going to be a very productive contact. All right, we'll give you each a copy of the dismissal there. Just sit tight.
Thank you.
Nothing but the truth.
Absolutely.
Okay. And Mr. Peak, you reviewed the petition filed by Ms. Turner?
I appreciate it. I invited it. Yeah.
Okay, so Ms. Turner,
Yeah, there's something's got to happen. I keep on getting the police called on me for maintaining my property.
Yeah, hold on. Okay, Ms. Turner, is it Mr. Peak's property that you reside on? Is he a neighbor? Explain that to me.
His parents are our landlords, and
Okay.
it's like a 2.5 acre property with both houses on it.
Okay,
There has to be somewhere. He's come on our side of you've seen pictures. Did you see the stuff
Yes.
that he's on our front porch? We've asked him to leave nicely. We've yelled, we've ignored, we've done everything. The cops have suggested the only thing to do was to get the anti-harassment order. Because the
Okay.
cops said they can talk to him, but that's all they can do.
and is your property entirely fenced?
No.
Okay.
We asked the landlord. We asked the landlords for a fence, but they didn't think that would be helpful.
Uh-huh. And what do they say about their son being on there? Have you told them that their son goes onto your property?
We've talked to him. They'll talk to him, but the last couple of times we called, they said they don't know what to do. They said their hands were tied. When I've talked to the cops that I've called, they've said something about Joel's Law. And the last time, Bob even asked me if DCR had talked to me about Joel's Law, and I thought that was for families. And when I asked the cops for clarification, they said, yes, it's for families. And this was what I could do as the anti-harassment order.
Okay. All right, Mr. Peak, do you agree that you've been onto the property that, pardon me, that Ms. Turner lives on?
I have been, yes.
Okay.
I was just trying to calm the situation down. I have installed a fence. There is a fence there now. It's unfinished. I'd like to finish it, but the police keep on coming by every time I go. We have a shared wellhead, and it's more towards their house. And I'd like an easement of some sort there. I'd like an understanding that I have access to that wellhead, because there's two valves off the wellhead, right? One goes to my house and one goes to their house. Do you have pictures of that?
No.
You didn't? I sent in some evidence.
Well, yeah, you sent me
an email.
about 50 screenshots, and they made no sense to me at all.
There's a wellhead there. There's a picture of a wellhead and a fence line. It's got mason line. It's a temporary T-post fence. And I did that in order to alleviate the accusations of me trespassing. I installed that fence line.
Right.
So there's a complete fence line between our two houses now, but I haven't been able to finish it because I get pelted by rocks. And
We haven't thrown rocks. We have videos of you throwing rocks at our house.
yeah, I have done that. I have done that because I was just being petty. But you throw rocks at me.
Never.
All right. Ms. Turner, don't respond.
Sorry.
I'll give you a chance to have your say. Okay, so Ms. Turner, what do you think of the fence that
It doesn't work because after he had put that fence up, he crossed into our area, broke our 2 sprinklers, which there's a report.
Okay, keep going.
And so we've asked him, there's no yard by the fence. It's just dirt. I don't know what he's trying to do, but all of his lawn equipment, which is a riding lawnmower, his rototiller, and his weed whacker, he will park by the fence and walk away, which the fence is really close to our bedroom window. And before this temporary order got put place, he was 5:30 in the morning and just leave it running. So whatever he's trying to do never gets done. So we're constantly hitting the lawn equipment motors.
Right. Yeah. That's going to be pretty difficult for the court to regulate.
Right. And we've asked for consent from the landlords, but I don't know. They didn't think it would help. So I know that Bob said that he was going to talk to somebody to see if it would help law enforcement have a line. But I don't know if you ever talked to that person. He never got back to me.
Okay.
But while this temporary order has been placed, it's been super quiet. Before we were calling, I felt like every other day we had to call the cops because he doesn't listen to us. And when we tell him something, it was always, it's our problem or whatever, deal with it.
Okay. So in your mind, I can't tell looking at the exhibits that have been filed. It looks like they were filed by Mr. Peak, not by you. They're listed as respondents exhibits. Maybe you're the one who submitted all these.
I submitted a lot, and Judge Wilcox had signed for the temporary order.
Right. No, I realize that.
Did you not have those?
I have 54 exhibits. They're just aimless sort of photos, screenshots, some texts. It's just a compilation of those.
No, mine had incident pictures that went with incident pictures that went with incident. I had police reports. I had call logs. I had a zip drive that they had taken and put on whatever computer or whatever.
Have it. I have photos with comments on them, but the comments don't make any sense. So
that must be my testimony.
Okay. Thank you for acknowledging.
I can explain them. I don't want to interrupt though.
I don't need that. Okay, so just explain it to me, Ms. Turner. Is in your mind, is there a okay, your exhibits have now been made clear to me.
Okay, thank you.
So give me some sense of it, though. These are just photos. I don't have a really good sense. Is it clear in your mind what is your property and what is property that Mr. Peak can't be on without your approval? Is that distinction clear?
Well, no, he's the one that decided to put the fence up. There was no talking. I would rather have his landlord or his parents put the fence up since they are the landlords, not him, but he chose where to put the fence, and it's
Okay, so these photos, for example, of him leaning on a railing, that's your railing and he's taking pictures?
yes, that's my front porch.
And you said he peed in your doghouse?
Yep. So when we ask him to leave, get out of our yard, he doesn't listen and he just laughs. It's like we have to call the cops or nothing gets done.
And all the salon equipment, he just turns it on and leaves it there?
Yep.
Okay. And the fence is a chair with some boards, being supported by a chair? Is that the property?
Those were before the fence came up because he decided that he could mow the yard over there, and that's right on the back of our house. Mm-hmm. He's got like 2 acres on his side. We have just a little tiny area.
All right. Just so you know, I can regulate the contact between the two of you. The living environment in which you're out there, that's between you and his parents. If you're going to have to.
We just want to be left alone, and it seemed to work when we had the order.
Right, yeah. Okay.
All when we don't, then we're calling the cops every other day because he doesn't listen to any.
Okay, Mr. Peak, anything else?
Oh yeah, I've got all kinds of things to say.
No. Go ahead. I may cut you off because I've read, a lot of what you filed. So go ahead.
There's been some issues with the mailbox. I put those up. I don't know if you see in that testimony that I submitted. There's some real animosity on their end. My own personal opinion is that I really appreciate the fact that they're there and they help pay for the property with their rent. So I want them there, and I don't want any more conflict. That's the thing. But
what were you doing?
I'll stop being. I've been performing for the camera, and I'll stop doing that. I've been kind of doing a vaudeville thing. I've never been in a situation like this before, where I've been under surveillance over in my own yard. But I'm amiable. I just want to be good neighbors. And
okay. What's with the leaning on their railing and taking photos?
That was he threw beer cans at me, so I thought I'd give them back to him. And I was being, I don't know what to do,
Okay.
I did not pee on the doghouse. I didn't actually pee. I was just kind of posing. And that's kind of been I'll quit doing that. I know it's irritating. And I'll stay away from the camera. I would like to finish that fence line though and get it permanent because right now it's just mason line. Pat seems to respect it because he doesn't go beyond it, and that was the intention to come up with some because it was arbitrary of whose property was what, because there's we share a common yard, and that's why I put the fence line up. So I've got the T-post in now. He did rip a post out, and you do see where there's some animosity there, and he's made several threats, all kinds of threats about putting a bullet in my head and all kinds of stuff, killing me and all that. And I'm not worried. I don't really take it seriously. You know what I mean? I know I kind of have an idea what the idea is, but boy, so far in March, I've had the police call on me twice, in April twice, and this last May. Now, do you want me to explain the sprinkler incident?
Nope, that's fine.
Okay, there was okay, I'd like to, but
sure, if you want to, go ahead.
Well, what had happened is since, let's see, I've been writing all this stuff on the calendar. Since April 14th, he's been using the sprinkler as a deterrent, and it's been running 9 hours a day on my side. So it's just a mud. What I'm trying to do is install a lawn And I can stay away from the back corner there. But anyway, so it's April 14th all the way to May 10th. And that's when Deputy Charles Alt showed up about the sprinkler. I did destroy I disabled them because they were running for 27 days, 9 hours a day. And I figured that was about 60,000 gallons of water. That sprinkler that they were using dispenses in 60 seconds, 3.5 to 4 gallons of water. Multiply that by 21 days, 9 hours a day. And the submersible pump, my father just installed that wellhead on halfway through June, about June 15th. And that's when the problem started. We've been living together for 3 years, since 19 to 20 to June 23, peacefully. There hasn't been a problem. But what ended up happening is the wellhead there was a submersible pump got replaced, and it was unfinished yet. There was no water to both our houses, and so there was a rupture in the line. They used PVC, polyvinyl chloride, water line to the wellhead, from the wellhead to this pressure tank to this house, and that ruptured. So I actually fixed that, and at that point I was deemed trespassing. Ever since then, anytime I go on that side of the yard, and I don't care to go. I really appreciate the restraining order, sir. I really do, because this is. I get the police called on me. This is good. I don't want this to be an average interaction between us, where I get visited by the police 4 times a month.
Okay. All right. So were you turning on your lawn equipment, just leaving it there, walking away?
I'll admit that I was doing that, and I will cease and desist.
Okay, good.
I was doing that. I'm guilty.
Okay. I will grant the request for the order, and that order will be in effect for 1 year from today's date. Ms. Turner, Mr. Peak, you're directed not to go on to the property of Ms. Turner and Mr. Stenhouse, and you're not to have any contact with them. So absolutely. I don't want you saying anything to them, communicating with them in any way. If you're concerned about where the property is, you're going to have your parents define that. And
well, sir, can I?
Yeah, Ms. Peak, as
far as boundaries, I established. I'm 50 feet off the fence line. I won't go anywhere within 50 feet of that fence line that I established. And I would like to have access to my mailbox. My mailbox is within 50 feet of the end of their driveway. It's about maybe 35 feet away from their driveway, 40 feet, somewhere in there. So I would like to have access to the mailbox, and where I deposit my garbage for garbage and recycle pickup, that's within 50 feet of the end of their driveway. So I'd like to have access to that spot too, so that I could get rid of garbage. Other than that, I'm with you all the way.
Do you agree that those distances are accurate that Mr. Peak just referred to? His mailbox and garbage collection site?
Correct.
Okay. But I'm assuming
I'll stay away.
Hold on. I'm assuming those locations are more than 100 feet from your home. Is that correct?
From my home?
Yes. The mailbox and the garbage collection site. That 100 feet isn't very far, but
yeah, I'm not sure. It's a cul-de-sac.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So I'll respect. Okay. I like the 50-foot rule.
Hold on, speak. I'm going to finish doing all the talking. All right.
Okay.
All right. So I will limit the distance restriction to 50 feet. So you're not to go within 50 feet of the residence, 50 feet of Ms. Turner, Mr. Stenhouse, and not have any contact with them whatsoever. If you have issues, you talk to your parents about it. And Ms. Turner, this order will be in effect for 1 year from today's date. If you want it renewed, you have to come back to court and ask for it to be renewed at that time.
Is that 150 feet away from the fence line, or the how? I don't understand the house.
50 feet
or
from the house.
The end of the driveway.
50 from the feet house? From the house. Yep.
Oh, the fence line's 50 feet away from the house.
Okay, you're good. Mm-hmm. I'm not defining fence line. Let's be perfectly clear. That I'm not saying
it's established in the photographs.
Okay, Mr. Peak, stop.
Okay.
You're on.
I'm not going to get into whether the fence line is properly placed or not. That's not part of this process. I don't have the authority to do that as part of the process. As I've said, all I can do is deal with the direct relationship between the parties, and I'm doing so. If Ms. Turner believes the fence line's improperly placed, she's going to have to speak to the landlord, have them change it. If Mr. Peak believes that it's properly placed and he wants the authority to continue building it, he's going to have to talk to his parents, get their permission. But Mr. Peak, you're not to go within 50 feet of the home of Ms. Turner and Mr. Stenhouse. You're to have no contact with them at all.
I'm staying away from that side of the yard.
All right, thank you.
Your Honor, can I ask one question? How do you go about getting paid back for the sprinklers that he broke? How do I do that?
A small claim action, if that's what you want to do.
Okay.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
Thank you. Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'd be glad to replace the sprinklers, but I'd like to get it documented.
Okay. Thank you.
I offered him $60, but
all right,
he didn't want to take it on camera. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, do you have my address?
We have the address. What's
Yeah,
the address?
to send me the judgment. That's
Yeah, go ahead.
It's oh, thank you so much. 8677. So I'm assuming I have access to that mailbox. The mailbox, and what I'll do is avoid them as best as possible I can. But the mailbox is on the same frame. There's 4 mailboxes altogether there. 2 of them belong. One of them belongs to me. One of them belongs to Liz and Pat. So I mean, I'd like to have access to that.
The address. Thank you, Mr. Peak. Okay, Ms. Turner, Mr. Peak, we're all done.
Thank you.
Yep, and your order will be in the file, and we'll mail a copy to Mr. Peak. Thank you. All right. First of all, the police report that was submitted in this case was as convoluted as the last hearing I just did. It was all over the place. So here's what I discern from my reading of what's been filed is that there is a previous protection order that I believe Mr. Chapman has against Ms. Falsing, and this is in essence a request to reissue that order and have it continue.
That's correct.
Okay. And that's based on an incident that in January where there's some allegation that Ms. Falsing was in violation of the order by taking some action regarding her report that horses were loose, and she was trying to get people to take action to return the horses to the property. And
it was that she was too close to the property line.
Right, that she was on Yelm Highway.
Yeah.
And I've read that. All right, so the order was still in effect on that date because the order went through March, right?
Yes,
okay.
We contacted law enforcement. They are in the process of dealing with that. She has court for violating the protection order.
Okay. Right now, I don't see any charge. There's
no, it's under investigation, Your Honor.
Okay, so there's nothing. It's been filed. Just so you know.
My wife has I called on the day.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I see. Hold on just a second. Actually, I see a case now. Let's see what the status is. All right. It looks like there is a hearing on Friday.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, Ms. Falsing, with that pending, and I've read the documents that were filed and your theory on this case, but Ms. Rowe, your attorney, I'm sure would direct that you say nothing at all today because you're under oath and anything you say today could be used in the trial that's currently scheduled. So you understand that?
I do understand that.
Okay. And have you spoken to Ms. Rowe about being here today?
No, I've asked her repeatedly to assist me. I have tried.
She can't assist you in
not
this
in
hearing.
today. In my case with the other case, no contact. I've sent her messages. I've sent her proof, and I've had no.
Okay. Well, you're going to want to reach out to her because you're scheduled for a hearing on Friday. So
I've messaged her 3 times in the last 4 days.
okay. Keep trying.
I am.
Okay. All right. So the order that Judge Wilcox entered, I believe, expired at the end of March. Is that right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. All right. And the issue for seeking a new order is this issue that occurred in January of being on Yellow Highway.
That's right.
Okay.
Your Honor, I would like to ask.
Yeah, hold on. So I think the primary issue in the criminal case, I'm guessing, is Ms. Falsing allegedly being within the 1,000 feet of the address. I think, which is not a property owned by the two of you. It's a property you go to.
It's her mother's property.
Right, but it's not a property owned by the two of you.
No, but that's where the incident happened.
Right, I know. I understand that. All right. And since that incident in January, you've had no contact from Ms. Falsing?
None, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. That incident's being addressed with the criminal charge. There's not a basis in my mind for continuing or reissuing a new order in this case with that allegation. This is supposed to be a pattern of behavior, the allegation that you've made, which a court's going to rule on whether that's sufficient to have violated. There's going to be a strong argument that Yelm Highway is such a major thoroughfare that the 1,000-foot restriction is really unenforceable on a 4-lane road. So that's okay. Pretty sure it's 4-lane, except now where it's blocked off by construction. But where you are,
section, it's not in our.
Okay.
Not in that section. It's
Okay.
2-lane.
All right, it's still a major thoroughfare.
Yeah.
But we'll let the court dealing with the criminal charge deal with that issue. But here, if there had been other contacts and it appeared that Ms. Falsing was taking advantage of the opportunity of the expiration of an order to continue behaviors that were consistent with that which led to the original order, I would think differently about this. But based on the information provided, I am going to deny the order. And I just, I have no idea about the accuracy of what Ms. Falsing is telling me. Ms. Benjamin, are you an employee of State Patrol?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and you read that she says that you are.
I have no idea what she's talking about.
We have not been served.
We've not been served anything.
Okay.
Okay,
so what she has, just so you know, what she says is that you've been accessing records that private citizens can't access to get information about her. And I'm sure you would know that as an employee of the State Patrol, you don't have the ability to do that.
I don't have access to that program.
Okay, you could get fired for using State Patrol resources for personal.
Absolutely.
So I just wanted to put that out there. Okay. All right. I'm going to deny the request for the order because I don't think there's a basis under the statute for me to continue an ongoing anti-harassment order. The issue that has been raised before this court will be dealt with at the trial with confirmation set on Friday, and looks like trial is for the 17th of June.
Yes.
All right, so we'll give you each a copy of this. And I'll just make clear, even though I'm denying the request for the order, the Chapmans have made clear, Ms. Falsing, that they wish to have no contact with you. We're obviously having a very public hearing about this right now, to the extent that contact occurs in the future going forward when you understand they don't want to have contact with you or from you, would be a basis for them coming back in and saying, after we had that hearing, she continues to contact us, and the court would then review the order with that information, which is different than what's been provided to the court at this point. So I'm just letting you know. They've made very clear they don't want contact with you.
Your Honor, I've been trying for 9 years, 6 months, and 6 days to stay away from Ben Chapman.
Right, I read what you filed. Okay.
And then when he's.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Can I have the text messages through my husband as well?
Okay, thank you. And have you been able to leave messages for Ms. Rowe?
I have.
And you left her your phone number?
Yes, I've been texting her as well.
Okay. I'll have somebody from the court send a message to Ms. Rowe, letting her know that you've been attempting to get in touch with her. Thank you. Awesome.
Okay, now, come now. She's having a seizure.
Okay, and do you need medical help?
No, she's okay, just stress. Gives her having seizures. This is her caregiver.
Okay.
It's okay, Mama, it's okay. I got you. Here, I'm right here, Mama. It's okay. I got the bags.